Renegade Immortal, Chapter 613, Zi Shu's Sword Energy. Hello, welcome back to my channel, Books with AR. This Tong Yun's reaction was really fast, and he even had a very sad expression when he said it. He didn't say much, but he was able to quickly cover up all the flaws in his lies. If it was an ordinary person, they would have more or less been deceived by this person. Wang Lin coldly looked at Tong Yun before withdrawing his gaze and walking forward. Tong Yun's expression slightly changed as he backed up while staring at Wang Lin and thinking, the armor this person is wearing is simply too terrifying. I also can't see through his cultivation. I don't know if this person is a cultivator or a native of this demon spirit land. However, no matter how powerful that person's cultivation is, once he enters 100 feet of that corpse, he will still die without a doubt. I won't make a fuss, and I'll let him get killed by the gold light released by that treasure. Then I'll use my own methods to retrieve that treasure. At that moment, even that armor will be mine. Tong Yun sneered in his heart, but on the surface he revealed that he was angry. However, he didn't dare to stop him. Wang Lin took a step forward and entered within 100 feet of Zi Shu. The moment he entered within 100 feet, there was a gold flash from Zi Shu's body. This gold light stabbed toward Wang Lin like 10,000 golden needles. Tong Yun revealed a look of joy, along with a hint of pride. However, he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air, and his pride in his eyes suddenly disappeared. Wang Lin's eyes, which were hidden behind the helmet, released a cold gaze. He waved his hand, and the gold light was swept away. Wang Lin had already experienced retrieving Ling Tianhou's sword energy once. Now he leisurely took another step and arrived beside Zi Shu. His casual step was extremely terrifying in the eyes of Tong Yun, who was 100 feet away. He realized that this was going badly, so he turned around to escape. However, right at that moment, a cold snort entered his ears. Tong Yun's body trembled and stopped. He had a feeling that if he was determined to run, he would without a doubt die. The shadow of death descended on his heart. "You don't want your junior apprentice brother's corpse?" Wang Lin squatted, but didn't turn around. Tong Yun's face twitched and quickly said, "If Senior likes it, then please take it. Junior will not have a single word of complaint. My junior apprentice brother had a hard life. If he can be of use for someone like Senior after he died, it is his blessing. Junior believes that even if junior apprentice brother was still alive, if he knew Senior was interested, he would commit suicide. My junior apprentice brother is that warm-hearted of a person." Right now, he was completely terrified and spat out a string of lies. Wang Lin looked at Zi Shu's corpse, then his gaze locked onto Zi Shu's forehead. The gold light was coming from between the eyebrows. Wang Lin focused himself and decisively cut Zi Shu's head off. Then he grabbed the head and spat out a mouthful of oran flame. The colorless flame wrapped around Zi Shu's head and started to burn and refine the head. On the side, Tong Yun saw all of this and his heart trembled once more. He bitterly thought, "It's over, it's over. He must be a cultivator to have oran flame. However, he must be a very vicious cultivator that cultivates the demonic path and won't even let a dead person go. I'm unlucky enough to witness all of this. I hope this person doesn't kill me to silence me." Wang Lin looked at Zi Shu's corpse that was being refined. His eyes lit up, and he spat out more oran flame. Soon, Zi Shu's head disappeared, and only the gold light remained. Wang Lin took a deep breath as he grabbed the gold light. Then he moved it next to his mouth and swallowed it. Then his left foot picked up Zi Shu's body and kicked it toward Tong Yun and said, "There is your junior apprentice brother's body back. Give him a proper burial." Tong Yun's face was extremely pale. There was fear from just escaping a daster. As he quickly caught the corpse and said, "Yes, thank you, Senior, thank you." He quickly left with the corpse in his arms. It wasn't until he was dozens of kilometers away that he let out a breath of relief and found that he was soaked in cold wet. He felt great hatred as he looked at the headless corpse in his hands and threw it to the side. Then he waved his right hand and a large black cloud appeared. The black cloud covered the corpse, and in the blink of an eye, the entire corpse, including the bones, was completely devoured. It was all this corpse's fault. I almost lost my life back there. Although that senior's cultivation level is high, his mind is a bit slow. He really thought that this person was my junior apprentice brother. Tong Yun spat on the ground and felt lingering fear as he recalled what happened. He looked back before immediately departing the area. He didn't know the fate that would have befallen him if Wang Lin really thought that he was Zi Shu's senior apprentice brother. After swallowing Ling Tianhou's sword energy, Wang Lin's body slowly sank into the ground. He sat down in the lotus position underground and began to silently refine. Without refining it for a period of time, it would be extremely difficult to use Ling Tianhou's sword energy as his own. At the bottom of the earth, Wang Lin's dice expanded and found that there was another sword energy not far from him. His eyes lit up, then his hand reached out underground, and the sword energy in the distance immediately began to struggle. Then it turned into a giant rat and roared at Wang Lin. Wang Lin exclaimed and released his Ascendant cultivation. The large rat let out a miserable cry before being caught by Wang Lin. What appeared before Wang Lin was a simple and ancient sword. There was a black rat on the sword that stared at Wang Lin with its black eyes. Zi Shu's sword, Wang Lin revealed a smile. When he killed Zi Shu, his Oran soul was in a state of madness, so he grabbed the sword and just threw it away. Thinking about it later, he felt very regretful. But not only did he obtain Ling Tianhu's sword energy, he was also able to find Zi Shu's sword. Sword Saint Ling Tianhu, if one day I, Wang Lin, take out all 12 swords, what kind of expression will you have? Wang Lin grabbed the sword, imprinted his own dice expansion on it, and threw it inside his bag of holding. The 12 swords betrayed swords were not simple, and the 12 swords cultivation levels were not high enough to use the full power of these betrayed swords. But in Wang Lin's hands, that was a different story. Wang Lin spent 1 month in the ground below where Zi Shu died before finally refining the sword energy. This time, he completely refined it for his own use. This was different from Mo Yang's sword energy, where he was merely storing it and then just threw it outside to use it as a one-use item. After refining Zi Shu's sword energy, Wang Lin could send it out and retrieve it at his will. He could even split the sword energy into 10 different sword energies with the power equally dispersed. Of course, he could combine them again to have the unimaginable power of a ray of sword energy from Ling Tianhou. As a result, this sword energy became a lot more flexible. Compared to before, this was a difference between heaven and earth. Even among the 12 swords, most of them could only use it like a one-time use item. They didn't have the ability to send it out and retrieve it as they wished. Wang Lin was able to do this because his cultivation had reached the early stage of Ascendant. And to make it easier for his disciples to use, when Ling Tianhu gifted them the sword energies, he wiped his own dice expansion off them. That made them items without any owner. Just by doing this, Ling Tianhu protected his disciples far more than the All-Seer did. He would give his disciples a ray of powerful sword energy, while the All-Seer gave his disciples something that barely qualified as a life-saving treasure. Ling Tianhu had arranged for Greed to go into the demon spirit land to protect his disciples, but the All-Seer would not do this. This had a lot to do with their respective Daos. Ling Tianhou's Dao was the Dao of tyranny. This made it so he was extremely protective of his own people. Outsiders were not allowed to mess with his people. No outsiders were allowed to bully the disciples of the Dao Lu sword sect. It was exactly because of this that even though the Dao Lu sword sect had a very bad name, all of the disciples still looked up to Sword Saint Ling Tianhou with extreme respect. However, it was because of this that there weren't many extremely strong cultivators in the sect. The reason was that it was very difficult to become truly powerful under this kind of protection. On the opposite end was the Heavenly Fate sect. The All-Seer's Tao was following the will of the heavens. He was a typical follow the heavens type of cultivator. The life and death of his disciples were decided by heavens, their strength decided by fate. Although the sect was like this, it caused the Heavenly Fate sect to have many experts. Just those 7 true disciples were all powerful. That's not even mentioning the countless people hidden within the sect that had experienced countless life and death situations. A big event happened in the demon spirit land during the month Wang Lin spent cultivating underground. This matter made almost every single foreign cultivator leave their respective base and rush toward the fire demon country and sky demon country. The sky demon countries mobilized 30 million soldiers and officially declared war on the fire demon country. Although battles in the demon spirit land were common, they were all small battles. All-out wars between two countries were extremely rare. Even with the appearance of cultivators every 5,000 years, it would only cause a certain amount of war between the 9 countries. Rarely would it create a life and death contest between two countries like this. This was because once the balance between the 9 countries was broken, it would create an unimaginable chain reaction. However, for cultivators, this was a godsend opportunity. This was the fastest way to obtain merit. The Sky Demon country's 8 commander-in-chiefs and 8 vice-commander-in-chiefs were all deployed. Among the 2 new vice-commander-in-chiefs, there was Molly Hai and the ranked 1 demon general Ma Fi. In addition to all of this, the Sky Demon Emperor was personally leading the army. The entire army was split into 3 armies. They were going to slaughter their way into the Fire Demon country in 3 different directions and then meet outside the capital of the Fire Demon country. The day Wang Lin left the underground was the day the Sky Demon country's army entered the territory of the Fire Demon country. Just as he appeared from underground, Wang Lin could feel a thick killing intent in the air. This killing intent wasn't just from one person, but from tens of millions of people. Under this killing intent, even the sky seemed to dim. The white clouds in the sky were replaced by dark clouds, and then rain began to fall. Wang Lin raised his head to look at the sky. He pondered and muttered, "The ancient demon sure is decisive. Perhaps after these countless years his patience was at its limit. If that is the case, I will have to be more careful. However, this battle has not much relation to me. The most important thing right now is to kill the remaining 10 disciples of the Sword Saint and take their sword energies. Then I need to refine countless strands of slaughter energy. After that, I will have the ability to have a foothold even in this demon spirit land. I also need to continue to explore that cave. Perhaps there will be even more treasures." Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he took a step and disappeared without a trace. There were 2 disciples of the Sword Saint beside that Ma Fi back then. They are my targets. However, that Ma Fi is a bit strange. The black-haired man in the prison looked very similar to him. I'm afraid there is something strange behind all of this, Wang Lin pondered as he flew.